Hello everyone! Today I'm going to share with you my February hits and misses, and I actually have quite a few products to share with you today. So I'm going to get started with my very first outstanding product, which I did post a little teaser about on Twitter, and this is the MAC Prep and Prime Blemish Control Gel with salicylic acid. This is an acne treatment, and I've tried lots of pimple creams and overnight spot treatments, but none of them work as well as this MAC product, which is pretty surprising because I didn't expect to love it so much. It's affordable and it's effective. It doesn't make my blemishes worse, and that's what I've experienced with a lot of those overnight spot treatments. A lot of times, at least half the time, the pimple gets even bigger before it starts to heal. But with this MAC Blemish Control Gel, my pimples get smaller and it even works on my blackheads. So sometimes I just pop this on all over my nose, and I've been struggling with a patch of blackheads here on my forehead, and this product has really helped to reduce them. So of all the acne products I've ever tried for spot treatment, this MAC product is by far the very best. And now for some of my favorite new eyeshadows. This is a fresh release from Burberry. These are the Silk Eye Color Wet and Dry shadows, and wet and dry shadows are all the rage right now, but I think Burberry has done the most outstanding job in terms of color range because there are neutrals, bright pops of color, as well as the glow shadows, which I actually will show you right now. My favorite of those is Optic White, and almost all of these are sold out and on back order via Nordstrom.com because they are that popular. And I think it's because they have that really opalescent texture. They have a metallic sheen, but it's not gaudy in any way. And so here is Optic White. As you can see, it is very reflective, but these shadows are just so easy to use. You can use them with Burberry's Fresh Glow or just plain old water. And I actually used a combination of the Jet Black and Stone eyeshadows in my latest tutorial, which is inspired by the Burberry Smoky Eye featured on the Autumn-Winter 2015 runway. And it just has that smudgy, edgy vibe that I'm actually really loving. And even today I have smudged out my eyeliner. Normally I like a really pristine, clean, super sharp cat eye, but I've actually started to branch out, and like I mentioned before, I'm really trying to show you guys different looks, versatile looks, use different lashes and not just rely so heavily on my go-to products. But going back to the eyeshadows, here is number 102 Pale Barley, one of my favorite shades in the entire Burberry makeup line. I just find that Pale Barley looks so good on just about every complexion, and it complements every eye color. So if you want to start with a couple, I definitely recommend Optic White and Pale Barley. And now I present my favorite hair tool of the moment. I first started using T3's Body Waver, which was introduced to me by my hairstylist Guy Tang. Every time I went to go see him, he would curl my hair with the Body Waver, and ever since I trimmed off quite a bit of hair, I've been using this new Twirl 360 curling iron instead. And I think that this iron is pretty unique because the rotating feature is not a gimmick. It actually works, especially when I'm so tired and so sleepy I can barely stand in the morning. Just having that rotating feature to help me curl my hair makes a world of a difference when I am just trying to get out the door as quickly as possible. And I actually took this iron to a photo shoot while I was in New York, and all the girls fell in love with it. It's really hard not to fall in love with it at first sight because it is such a beautiful curling iron. I personally love white tools because they are a rare sight, but the rose gold, which is pretty trendy, it makes a great accent. I definitely think that T3 makes some of the most beautiful hair tools on the market, but even though this does come with a pretty hefty price tag, this one is worth the money. So after traveling with this for several weeks now, the verdict is out. I absolutely love it, and this barrel size, 1.25 inches, is actually more ideal for my current hair length than the Body Waver. I still absolutely love the Body Waver, but I just think that if I want to curl my hair as opposed to just add volume to the roots, I do think that this Twirl 360 is a better option, especially if you struggle with curling your hair. And now for a liquid foundation that lots of you have asked me to review. So I've been on and off testing the NARS All Day Luminous Weightless Foundation, and this is their new Serum liquid foundation, and I have to say that it's definitely one of the best that I've tried. It rivals the performance of Laura Mercier's, which is one of my favorites, and I do think that this is the perfect foundation for those with combination skin. I have normal to dry skin, so I do have to moisturize pretty heavily before I use this, otherwise it does accentuate dry patches like around some of the blemishes that I currently have. I purchased light number 5, which is the shade Fiji, and it's just a hint light for me when I put it on, but it oxidizes throughout the day, so I don't feel like I need to switch up to number 6. And again, this is a mattifying foundation, so if you have combination or oily skin, you'll absolutely love it. I think that this is one of the more unique serum foundations because it has such great coverage. If you have normal skin, I think the Sisley is a little bit more forgiving, especially on dry patches, but the NARS is very, very long lasting. It's more long lasting than the Sisley, and the color range is a lot more extensive. But if you can afford the Sisley and you're in the lighter half of the shade range with normal to dry skin, I definitely recommend the Sisley. If you have combination to oily skin and you're looking for a more budget-friendly foundation, then definitely try this one. In the summer, if you live in a humid climate, I think this one would be a fabulous, fabulous everyday foundation. Now for one of my favorite new eyebrow pencils. As many of you know, when I visited Japan, I actually purchased quite a bit of cosmetics. I know I still haven't gotten around to posting everything on the blog, but as many of you know, I've been traveling, so I just really haven't had the time to sit down and photograph everything, but I promise those posts are in the works, and in the meantime I just wanted to share how much I love this Suiku eyebrow pencil. And if you love the Anastasia Brow Wiz, this is very reminiscent of the Brow Wiz in that it's an ultra thin point pencil, and I just find that this one is not as waxy. I used to love the old formula in the Brow Wiz, but I just find that every pencil I buy nowadays feels waxier and waxier. I like a dry, powdery pencil just because I find that it's easier to blend even if it's not quite as long lasting, but because my brows are so sparse, I do find that these powdery versions are a lot more natural looking. And just as with any other feature on the face, it's actually a lot easier to just pile things on and add more coverage, add more color, make it more saturated. But the art of subtlety, and especially the art of subtle eyebrows, is actually something that's quite difficult to master, and I feel like the Suiku eyebrow pencil makes it a lot easier for me to create a super natural yet defined eyebrow. And today I'm actually not even wearing the Suiku brow pencil. I'm testing one of the Shiomura shades. I know many of you love it. It's a very affordable traditional brow pencil, and I highly recommend it if you're looking for something a little bit more accessible and a little bit more budget friendly. But the Suiku is phenomenal. I can get my brows done in just a dozen strokes, and that's just amazing considering you can't see my eyebrows on camera unless I have something on them. Last for my color picks, this is the Tom Ford Cream Color for Eyes, and there's no shade name for this, it's just called Spring 2015, and this is the perfect balance between khaki and brown and gunmetal gray, and it's just a super easy base. You can use it as an eyeshadow primer, or you can use it as all over color. I've loved Tom Ford's Cream Color for Eyes ever since they were first released in the platinum and spice shades, and I just find that they're one of the very few cream eyeshadows that don't dry out within months, and they're just so long wearing, they're so easy to blend. They also last a very long time because a little goes a long way. I already have swatches of this up on the blog, thereviewer.com, so definitely check that out. I'll link it down below in the description box, but I just think that it's so versatile because you can sheer it out and it looks like a taupe khaki, and you can build it up and it looks like a true punk rocker chic gunmetal gray with just the right amount of warmth. So I love this. I highly recommend you get it because it is limited edition. And last but not least, for my favorites this month are my Quay sunglasses. The brand is actually spelled Q-U-A-Y like Quay, but it's pronounced Quay. And this Australian brand is absolutely blowing up all over social media. I see it on Instagram, on popular young celebs all the time, on big YouTubers, but I actually paid and bought for these sunglasses myself. I actually got them on dailylook.com, and Daily Look is the only one that actually had the brown tortoise, at least that I could find. I really wanted the black with the reflective green-blue lenses, but they're out of stock everywhere. So I decided to try these first and see if I like the shape. These are quite oversized, but that is exactly how I like my sunglasses. And for 45 bucks, you're really not going to find much better sunglasses. I'm very particular about any frame that I wear, but I just think that the detailing from the logo embossment element to the upper metal detailing. This is just a really, really great pair of sunglasses. And in case I haven't mentioned it, this model is called My Girl, which is one of their most popular styles. And now I'll wrap up this February episode with my 2 misses. First, starting with the Physicians Formula Eye Booster 2-in-1 Lash Boosting Felt Tip Eyeliner plus Serum in Black. Whew, long name. I absolutely adore the 2-in-1 Lash Boosting Brush Tip Eyeliner, which comes in thin silver packaging, but this chubby eyeliner jumbo oversized pen does absolutely nothing for me. The formula is super duper sheer and it doesn't layer well. It also feels sticky and it doesn't dry down. So I would definitely recommend skipping this one and trying the brush tip version instead, which is a lot smoother. It dries down quickly. It dispenses the right amount of formula on the lid, and I actually used it in my drugstore, my spring 2015 drugstore makeup look, so definitely give that one a shot. This one you can skip. And now for a little bit of hair chat. This is the Living Proof Style Lab Satin Hair Serum, and this is one of the new trendy hair products because there are no oils and no silicones in this product. I'm all for that if the performance of the product is good, but in this case the performance is very underwhelming to say the least. This is not an inexpensive product, but I feel like the bottom line is that it makes my hair feel heavy, and of course I thought it would help with eliminating frizz because that's what it says on the bottle, but it doesn't create shine and it definitely doesn't smooth my hair. And so this is my biggest miss of the month. I have been trying tons of new hair products, especially since I had my hair lightened and recolored, and this Living Proof product did not live up to the hype. So I definitely will film a video dedicated to the most amazing hair products that I've been using, but until then, just avoid this product. So thanks so much for tuning in, everyone, and I hope you found this episode helpful. If you have any further questions, please feel free to leave them down below, and I will do my very best to get back to you as soon as possible. If you have any urgent questions, please do feel free to ask me on Twitter. Thanks again for tuning in, and I hope to see you all very soon. Bye.